Hi guys, welcome back. It's Donwozi here, and in today's video I'm going to be updating my Magic and Nightblade PVE Impaler build for the Somerset expansion. Just a quick couple of thoughts before we get into the build. As I said on previous videos, I wanted to make builds that can do high-end DPS without actually having to wear trial sets and stuff like that, and also can still maintain the high-end DPS without having to use a Maelstrom Arena weapon, so VMA staff. So that's the reason behind the new builds. I will not be using trial sets of, well, I will be using VMA weapons, but I will still find a setup that is good without VMA weapons, or that you can just add the VMA weapon on the back bar and it'll just make it that slight bit better. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the stats with a potion. So our stats are 43.1k magicka, 17.5k health, 10k stamina, 2738 spell damage, 70.7% crit, and 930 recovery. We are a stage 4 vampire. This is optional. I recommend, if you are a vampire, that you carry double Bloody Mara food, so you can scale it down in fire heavy trials or dungeons. The food we're using is the Solitude Salmon Millet Soup, which is the Bystat food, and the Mundustone we are using is the Thief. So I'm just going to show you the consumables and then the gear. So obviously Solitude Salmon Millet Soup. I don't have double Bloody Mara on me right now, but I do recommend you get that. If you struggle to sustain, then I do suggest using the Clockwork Citrus Fillet or using Witch Mother's Brew. Just be aware of your health, because your health can dip really low with these two options. So either use the Valkynscoria monster set to get that extra bit of max health, or put some points into health, or maybe change an enchantment. Also, if you're struggling to sustain, I would suggest either changing an enchantment on your jewellery to magical recovery, or using obviously the Clockwork Citrus Fillet or Witch Mother's Brew. But right now, with the rotation and the build we're using, we can sustain the Bystat food. So the potions I'm using is Essence of Spell Power, which grants Major Sorcery, increasing your spell damage by 20% for 47.6 seconds. Grants Major Prophecy, which gives you 2191 spell critical rating for 47.6 seconds and restores 7582 magicka. Also grants you Major Intellect, which increases your magicka recovery by 20% for 47.6 seconds. So with the alchemy passives, you can basically have these effects up all of the time. And the reason we're using Major Prophecy, the regent that gives you Major Prophecy in the potions, is because we have Inner Light on our front bar, but we do not have it on our back bar. So you can use this, and even though you do not have Inner Light on your back bar, you will still maintain the extra, I think it's 10% crit or something along them lines. So now I'm going to go into the gear. We are running 5-piece Julianos, 5-piece Burning Spellweave, and 2 Zans. So on the front bar we have a Fire Staff Julianos infused with a shock damage enchant. Shock damage is really good for solo, and if you have a group that do not have many shock enchants, normally you would have a healer or like magic stalks running this, so I do recommend changing it to a fire enchant. But as of right now, you don't really know who's in your group, what's in your group, so I'd run a shock enchant, but that's entirely up to you. On the back bar we have an infused Maelstrom staff with a Berserker enchant, which increases your weapon and spell damage by 452 for 5 seconds. Also, if you do not have a Maelstrom staff, you can run a Inferno Juliano staff with the same enchantment. The DPS is quite a bit lower, but it's not too low. It's still really, really high in DPS. So in the DPS test, as you've seen, we got 46, just over 46k without a veteran Maelstrom Arena staff, and then 50k obviously with the Maelstrom Inferno staff. So you can see round about the difference. Obviously, on the DPS test with the Maelstrom staff, I was obviously super lucky with crits and stuff. So I'd say if I were even luckier without a Maelstrom staff, I could have probably pushed 47, maybe 48k. So the monster set we're running again is Zan's. This is the strongest monster set single target. I do recommend you get this. If you do not have this, there are some others that you can use. So you can use Grofdar if you can be able to get in melee range. Obviously the radius of Zan's is slightly bigger than the radius of Grofgar, and obviously Zan's does more damage, but Grofgar is still a really, really good choice. Also Valkin Scoria, a little bit extra health, and you're never going to miss an opponent. It's always going to hit. So they're two other options. And obviously we're running 5-piece Julianos and 5-piece Burning Spellweave. The Burning Spellweave is on the jewellery and the feet and the gloves. Ideally you would have a heavy chest and medium legs, and then Zan's would be in light, but that's just what I had. And also ideally you would have an infused head, infused chest and infused legs. On the jewellery I have 3 spell damage enchants. The traits are 2 arcane, 1 bloodthirsty. If you do not have access to bloodthirsty, 3 arcane works. I just prefer the bloodthirsty trait. It is more damage, and because the Nightblade has a really, really, really strong execute, bloodthirsty comes in handy in shorter fights and in longer fights. The reason I've gone with arcane over infused, because infused is more DPS, is because it's only slightly more DPS, and I think arcane gives you more utility, like your damage shields are higher, stuff like that. Better sustain also, sorry. So that's why I've gone with arcane over infused, but you can run infused. So that's the gear choices. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments. So now I'm going to go over the skills. On the front bar we have Impale, that's your execute. Only use this at 25% health, but make sure you're keeping your rotation going. Secondly, we have Elemental Weapon. I chose this because I think it's the best spammable. Maybe not in all situations, but I just prefer this spammable. Also, it's a lot cheaper than the other two, which are Funnel Health and Force Pulse. Force Pulse will net you the most DPS, and you'll have to switch your bars up a bit. Also, Funnel Health will give you the most utility because it heals people in your group. I just preferred Elemental Weapon. We also have Crippling Grasp, Merciless Resolve, Inner Light, and Fiery Rage on the front bar. On the back bar we have Blockade of Fire, Twisting Path, Siphoning Attacks, Harness Magicka, which it's entirely up to you which one you want to choose. I went with Harness for more sustain, but you can go with Dampen for a bigger shield. We also have Channeled Acceleration, which gives you movement speed and minor force, so it's like a Magicka trap beast, and obviously it lasts longer. And we have Solar Harvest on the back bar. This is interchangeable with Meteor. I prefer Soul Harvest because I know when to move in and use it, stuff like that. So now I'm going to go over the champion points. Remember, the champion points are all up to you, except from the blue tree. I would follow the blue tree carefully, but the rest is whatever your personal preference is or whatever trial you're doing. So in the blue tree we have 56 into Warlord, 64 into Sprinter, which you can change that up. I have 75 into Arcanist and 55 into Tenacity. I did have more into Sprinter to get Warmount while I was grinding the Sigic Order. I would actually put less in this because you do not need a sprint. So we have 56 in Warlord, 75 in Arcanist, and I'm going to put 64 into Tenacity. And then I'm just going to spread the rest between Tumbling and Shadow Ward. You could probably put more into Tumbling. Let me stick some more into Tumbling. Obviously, you can reach a jump point on Shadow Ward because, I mean, Shadow Ward don't have jump points, so you will actually get 9.44% block reduction. So on the blue tree, we have 51 points into Elfborn, 49 points into Elemental Expert, 22 points into Spell Erosion, 11 points into Staff Expert, 66 points into Master at Arms, and 51 points into Thaumaturge. 61 points into Warrior, into Ironclad, sorry. 44 points into Spell Shield, 56 points into Hard 8 and Elemental Defender, 33 points into Thick Skinned, and nothing in the rest. Also, these are, like I said, these are interchangeable. I had these on for, I had the red tree on for a certain trial we were doing. But yeah, like I said, it's entirely up to you. So that's the champion points. And now I'm going to go through some passives. So you can skip this part if you want. I will have the table of contents in the description, so you can skip straight past this if you want. So I would recommend you take all the assassination passives, all the shadow passives, all the siphoning passives, all the destruction staff passives, all the light armor passives. I would also suggest getting the Windwalker passive for extra stamina recovery. Not necessary though. I would also suggest getting the Resolve, Constitution and Juggernaut for extra max health recovery and physical and spell resistance. In Vampire, I suggest you getting Supernatural Recovery and Undeath, and also Unnatural Resistances if you have the skill points to spare. In Fighters Guild, I suggest you get Banish the Wicked for more ulti-gen. In Mages Guild, I suggest you get the Magicka Controller. The rest of the passives don't mean much. Magicka Controller is just for having, it's a passive ability for having an ability slotted. The rest of it we don't need because we're not using any Mages Guild abilities that we have to actually cast. In the Psijic Order, I suggest you take all the passives. Undaunted, take both the Undaunted passives. Also, all your racial passives. And in Alchemy, last but not least, the Medicinal Use passive, so you always have full uptime on your potions and stuff. So that's the passives. Now we're going to go into the rotation, and I'm just going to stick this skill on and build some ultimate, so we can go through the rotation. The rotation is very hard to explain, so if you get confused with it, just message me in the comments. I'm just gonna get my ultimate up so I can show you. As you can see, Zahn's has a really big radius. It's bigger than what people actually think. And this build can hit. I've seen people with the non-perfected Sororia hitting the same as this build. Obviously, if we had Sororia, it'd hit even more. And just a little thing I want to explain about the rotations. I will be showcasing a 2-bow rotation. There are 3-bow rotations. I would suggest you check other people's channels for the 3-bow rotation. Because I believe, because I'm a console scrub, and because of the frame rate in trials, I believe that a 3-bow rotation is just too hard. And I just believe it's a loss in DPS. So we're going to start off by using channeled acceleration, and then we would use siphoning, and then obviously switch to his front bar, use his ultimate. Switch to his front bar, merciless resolve, then use his ultimate, and then we're going to charge a fully charged heavy attack, and then as soon as the heavy attack cocks off, we're going to swap bars into Blockade of Fire and Twisting Path, swap back, and then we're going to cripple and grasp, and then maybe one elemental weapon, and then a bow will proc. So I'll just show you that now. And then one elemental weapon, bow proc, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, cripple, swap bars, blockade, swap bars, bow, recast bow, 1, 2, cripple, swap bars, blockade, twisting, soul harvest, swap back, bow, and then 1, 2, 3, cripple, swap bars, blockade, swap back, bow, 1, 2, we're gonna have to recast it. So it's just same and same again, that rotation. The reason we're doing, just remember we're doing twisting paths every 2 rotations, not every rotation. This helps with your sustain, and with the slight nerf to twisting path, it's made it so you don't need to, you're better off letting it run its full duration, and you don't lose too much damage by letting it slip by a second or something. Also, make sure you're casting your bow after the second bow proc. And that's about it for the rotation. I'm just going to do a quick rotation fast. Obviously, we can't use his ultimate, but this is how it would go. Heavy attack into blockade, twisting, cripple, 1, and then bow, 1, 2, 3, cripple, swap bars, blockade, swap bars, 1, recast, 1, 2, cripple, swap bars, then we're going to use twisting this time. Soul harvest, I recasted that one, I shouldn't have done, but 1, 2, 3, cripple, swap bars, blockade, swap bars, bow, you should be casting it now, and then go 1, 2, etc. And just make sure you cast siphoning whenever it falls off. You want to let siphoning go its full duration, and that is the rotation. If you have any questions about anything, please leave a message in the comments. I will answer every single comment. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch, because eventually I'm going to be streaming there. I haven't been streaming much because I haven't had much time to play. Sorry. With updating my builds and stuff like that. And obviously, I have a real life job and a real life. So I haven't had much time to play, aside from updating builds and stuff. So that's why I haven't been streaming. I will be coming back to streaming as soon as I possibly can. So I will keep you guys informed. But just remember, please follow my Twitch. Leave me a subscription if you like the content. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I'm streaming or whenever I put a new video up. I will be updating the Maelstrom builds as soon as possible. And also, if you want to contact me, the fastest way to contact me would be through Discord. So the link will be in the description, and please join our Discord for friendly chats. There are a lot of people in there that have a lot of knowledge of the game and can help you out. Also, if you are on PS4 EU or NA and you need a guild, let me know. I have a guild associated with the YouTube channel, and just either message me on PSN or Discord and I will get them invites as soon as possible out. So that's it for the video, guys. That's it for the build. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, again, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. Right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.